Okay, so just after messing around with this microphone for a little bit, I've been doing this for maybe 15 minutes. I think I'm just the biggest idiot in the world just because I feel like when I was practicing using the microphone at home, it was a plug and play solution. And as soon as I go outside, it takes me 10 to 15 minutes to get it set up. So I don't know. But hello, everybody. This is my first ever vlog on this channel, I suppose. And really, I kind of don't even want to beat around the bush. I kind of just wanted to talk about my own shit. And so if you're listening to this or you're watching this shit, you're about to get just a normal ass dude's point of view type shit. So let's go ahead and get started. And so the thing I really wanted to talk about today was this idea of the popcorn theory. And so I've been kind of thinking about for my own personal life in terms of like, I felt like every step along the way, there are certain things that people are telling you that you should be doing in order to be successful as you're older. So for example, you should study well in school, you should get good grades, you should, be social, you should try to join clubs when you're in university, you should try to have a decent grouping of friends, you should be able to try, actually trying to focus and studying hard in school and making sure that you find the right thing that you want to do in life. And I did none of that. I was quite dreadful at school. I would say that maybe, kindergarten to high school, I was maybe like a B student or something. So I was doing okay, but I was not particularly smart, not in comparison to some of the other kids that were in school. And like when we were doing the ACTs, I got a 31. So and for those who don't know the scoring of an ACT, essentially goes to 0 to 36. 36 is the very highest. And so at the time, I remember thinking like when I was in high school, like if I could just get a 32, I'd be able to get a full ride at yada, 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 yada. And I didn't get a 32. I ended up getting a 31. I tried very, very hard. I took that test like 3 or 4 or 5 times. But in the end, like really 31 was my maximum. And when I went to university, that's a whole other story. I'll get to that one day. But in the end, I graduated with basically a bullshit degree with a really horrible GPA. And so basically from everything from the very beginning, I was not particularly a standout kid. I didn't particularly do well in university. I didn't really join any clubs. I was really just kind of a loner, honestly. And so because of that, just based on all the information I just gave you, like I feel like I should have ended up being homeless or, not successful or not doing well. And, life, luckily for me, didn't turn out how, everyone expected it to be. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that little theory I had in my mind, which is the popcorn theory, which is in the idea that everybody's working on their own thing, everybody's working on their own skill sets. So potentially some people are really, really good at studying. Some people may be more of the creative types. Some people may be maybe good with numbers or maybe good with math, right? And I think that for every single person and the type of thing that you're dealing with, when you actually pop off, is actually kind of harder to determine than you think. And so obviously, the idea I was kind of thinking about is if you have a bag of popcorn and you just leave it outside in your normal kitchen, obviously that shit's not gonna pop. And it's just because there's no heat being added, right? But when you do add the popcorn into the microwave, essentially all of these popcorn kernels should be receiving around the same amount of heat, right? Because like the microwave, there's energy coming from the top, the left, the right, the back, like everything except the bottom is receiving heat on. And so in theory, like the vast majority of those kernels are going to be heated around the same time. And I was just kind of thinking about how when you microwave it though, as we all know, it takes some time to pop. And I kind of feel like if I could go back and talk to my younger self, maybe right after he graduated university. At that time, I was working a marketing gig. I was getting paid $50,000 a year. But it was fine for me at that time. Me and my wife now were living together, so it ended up not being that big of a deal. But if I could, come talk to him about it, past me, just because I remember at the time just kind of feeling like, did I make all the wrong moves? Am I never gonna pop? Like I may be doing all these side projects alone by myself, and maybe I'll share it with my friends or share it with my wife or something. But at the end of the day, I'm just doing these small projects. Like, is this considered heat, because if you're not doing the traditional way, which we can consider as heat, so like, doing well in school, like, okay, you have a higher chance to pop. Or, maybe your interests are in more STEM-like majors. Maybe you're a computer scientist, maybe you're a scientist in general, or maybe you want to be a doctor, like all these kind of like STEM majors. Like for those kind of things, just working towards it, the nice part is that you're continuously adding heat to your own kernel, so to speak. And I just feel like, for me, because I wasn't really doing that well in school or anything like that, I was always doing like side projects. I was always doing internships when I was in university. So like, despite the fact that my GPA was absolutely disgusting, it's like 2.5 or something, even during that time frame, like I was just getting internships left and right. I did 3 internships during my time at university. And so like, that was always kind of a big thing I was always thinking about, was is this considered heat? Like I'm doing stuff, I'm trying to learn new skills. I was doing a lot of coding on the side, and so like all this different stuff that I'm working on, but it's not the traditional route. And the big thing I was kind of thinking about after I left college and after I got my first job was like, was that all for anything? Was that all for nothing? Is that even considered like heat? Is that considered like something that would, people would be willing to pay you for? And for me, I guess the message I would have to younger me is just, yes, first of all, it does count as heat. Anything that you're working, as long as you're, stimulating your brain, as long as you're trying to learn new skills, as long as you're working with more new people, anything is considered heat. And I think really now that I'm a little bit older, I can now look at heat as a little bit more generalized, just in the sense that doing anything that upskills you in any way, I would consider heat. And so the thing that I guess what I wanted to know was, does it count, and how long or how slow is it going to be for me to really pop? And I guess the really best way for me to say it is, you just have to keep on working at it, keep on adding heat until the day comes where you do pop. And I know that doesn't sound too, how would I say it, helpful for people. It's really just keep working till you make it. And I know that's not that helpful to say, but it's just one of those things where I feel like it's really, really true. Because for example, my first year I was making 50K, and then my second year I was maybe 55K. And then my third year, I moved to Canada, so it did put a little bit of a weirdness in terms of the job search. And then the third year, I was making like 65K. And now the fourth year, now that I'm out of university, the amount of tax I will pay is how much I was making my third year. So like, that time for you to pop will happen. You just have to keep going at it, keep adding in your own heat. Don't like ignore what these other folks are saying in terms of like what you're trying to do. At the end of the day, like, if you're doing something that you enjoy, and preferably it is something that is, actually positive or something like that. Obviously you can't just do drugs all day. Like that's not going to help you pop. But if you are genuinely trying to figure out things that you do like, and that you do feel like has some opportunity to make some money, it is a strong skill set, then just keep adding heat to it. And then eventually, once that opportunity comes, the man behind you, who maybe like didn't want to prep this entire time because he was thinking, why even bother adding the heat? My shit's not popping. By the time that opportunity comes, he doesn't have the skill sets to be able to take that role anymore. Right? So like for him, it'd be like, oh, that's just an opportunity I missed because like I couldn't do it possibly. But you can, right? Like if the opportunity comes and you have the right skill sets and you've done it before, why can't you do it again? So I don't even know really what this video is about. It's just an insane ramble about popcorn, adding heat, hustling, doing your own thing, ignoring what other people think, and just having faith in the fact that, if you're making sure that you're adding your own heat, it doesn't matter if other people are seeing that you're adding heat. It doesn't matter if people even agree whether they think it is heat at all. You'll know what heat is. And so if you feel like you're adding heat to the fire, or heat to the microwave, so to speak, your kernel will pop. And it's a little bit sad that I can't just guarantee that anybody that works hard is going to make it. But I will say, if you work hard and you keep your mind open and you just remember the fact that whatever you're getting paid now doesn't determine what you're going to get paid later, right? It's so dependent on so many different things, because right now I'm essentially working in consulting, and it depends on so many things. The price itself is not the price itself, because we as people, as general consumers, as we're going to stores, $1,000 is $1,000. But when you're really starting to work with different clients, you start realizing that, like, depending on the scale of the business, $1,000 could be, oh my god, like that's just so much money, or it could be absolutely nothing. Maybe their budget is $50,000. It could be $100,000. And so I just wanted to kind of just throw it out there for all the hardworking, guys and gals who end up seeing this video. Keep working, keep adding that heat. I didn't have faith in myself, but now that I'm here, I have faith in you. If you're, in the same kind of situation I am, don't worry about, the fact like, oh, do I need to go to school? Like, remember, at the end of the day, you have to be you. And so if you are the type of person who would be able to get these type of good jobs, you're going to get it regardless. It doesn't matter if there's a piece of paper that's required. The only time really that would be the case is if you were working at a big corporation, and after a long period of time they want you to be like a VP or something, then they'll just send your ass to school. So by the time you need that shit, like, you're going to have opportunities that provide that to you. And so just keep working at it. I don't know. I know this was pretty shitty video for the very first one, but I'm going to see if I can keep doing this a little bit more. Hopefully on the daily. I'm capping. I know that shit's not going to happen. But just a little bit more. Get better used to just being able to talk on camera. Just kind of talk about what I'm thinking about these days. And hopefully it gets, some value to you. And if it did, obviously subscribe. But I mean, I'm talking to nobody right now, so I'm not too worried. So yeah, keep on grinding, keep on working, ignore what the haters say. There's always a possibility for you, for sure. All right, so that's really the end of the video. So I'll talk to y'all later.